Welcome to If These Pages Could Talk. Today we've got quite a happy mesh for you. We're going to be talking Vikings and what makes them so awesome, the Bronze Age, and we have another author-editor duo for you. So lots of fun. But first, I am your host, Kiersten Marcil, author and adventurer into history. I'm here with my co-host,
Sevannah. There's no history. Romance author.
We keep it like well versed here. And we'll introduce our editor first.
I'm Renee Wildes. I am an editor for Champagne, and I am Maureen's editor.
Woohoo! Welcome back. And Maureen, please, would you introduce yourself?
Oh, yeah, I'm Maureen Castell. I'm writing Viking time travel romance, and I live in Manitoba, Canada, which north of North Dakota.
Oh, okay, cool. My husband's been to every province now in Canada. He's very proud because he just added Newfoundland like last month to his collection of places he's been.
Oh.
And he always talks about how wonderful Canada is, and I have no idea where he is. Other than Newfoundland, I found St. John's. So we're so excited that you could join us. Thank you. We are going to start off with an icebreaker, just a nice simple round of which would you rather. So anybody can jump in with an answer, but Maureen, you're a special guest, so of course you get to go first if you like.
Okay.
So which would you rather, a sunny adventure outside or a rainy day activity inside?
I'm a reader and I burn easily, so rainy day inside. Reading a book.
I am right there with you for pretty much all those reasons. Yeah, and bugs. I don't like bugs.
It has to be a valid thing. It has to be something worthwhile for me to go
outside?
out. Yeah. So if it's a hike, yeah, that'll be great. You know, if it's a safari, you know, because where you go and you look at the animals, yeah. So, but then I'm still inside technically because I'm inside the car. Yeah, I don't know. Let's go with rain.
Well, it's a little different with you, Seb, because you're in South Africa. So when you go outside on an adventure, there's like animals.
Yeah, well, not outside my front door though. Although I just found out you can buy a baby crocodile for 15,000 rand.
Oh, not cool.
They're about this big. And I
They
want to
grow.
Get a lot bigger.
No, not these ones. They're like pygmy crocodiles. So they can be your pets. So
Wait, would you?
No. No.
His name will be Fluffy.
Well, that's perfect.
Yeah. Anyway, carry on. Yeah.
Carry on. No, I'll eat like alligator. I'll eat it, but it's really good.
Tastes like fish meets chicken.
Savannah's face.
Chicken, fish merged together. No, I don't even like kudu.
What's kudu?
It's an antelope.
Yeah, it's like a big buck.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure Useful Son could tell me those things. He knows all those.
Yeah,
things.
ask Useful Son. Yeah.
Yeah, Useful
Those
Son
are the
knows.
ones with the coiled horns, right?
I don't know. I just know what it looks like on my plate. Yes, it is. Yes, it is that one.
Okay.
Renee? Oh, we are so off track. That's okay. Okay, so we go way off track, Maureen. We're just having whatever kind of time. So which would you rather, a sail across the ocean or a hike over the mountains?
It probably would have to be the hike because I get seasick.
Same. Oh,
Yeah.
same.
Yeah, I get seasick, and I have fear of like the deep ocean too. So yeah.
I'll stand back when we came to Canada when I was 5 and I was seasick the whole voyage over.
Oh,
You came to Canada when you were 5 from where?
England.
Oh,
cool.
Yeah. Born
I
on the
just
South
learned
Coast.
something new.
Makes Maureen even more special.
Yes. She's been places, done things. Oh, cool.
She's British.
Oh, yes.
Would you rather hunt for your food or make your own clothing from scratch?
Oh, make, definitely. I bought a spinning wheel once, which was going way back to the beginning of making, but I can't knit. I can't knit clothes. I can knit tea cozies.
Okay.
And I can knit scarves, and that's it. Anything more complicated, forget it.
Hey, you've got that down. That's hard enough to learn, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to get
Coasters.
this.
It's easy to make coasters. And those blankets with the squares.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. How about you, Renee?
I could never kill anything, so I would make the world's worst clothes, but I would manage to not be naked.
It's always good.
Yeah, I've got some basic sewing. Like I could do a sewing machine. I can hand stitch some stuff. So I would have to do the clothing too. Same reason I couldn't kill stuff.
Nope.
Nope. Sev?
Undecided. I do like my meat. But then
Do you
again,
hunt?
no. But I know
Oh.
people who do. They just hunt kudu and buffalo and all of that. And I'm not. No, so probably, but I can't sew. I can't sew to save my life. Can I hunt berries? Can I hunt berries? And marula fruit and
And dandelions. Dandelions are good for you. We can hunt dandelions.
yeah, but we've got
together.
marula, so we can have marula. I can
You can
store.
hunt for berries.
Yeah, I can hunt for berries.
Gatherer society for you. Here we go. Time travel to the past or the future?
Future. I
Future.
want to go to the moon. I want to go to the moon when it's safe and it's routine,
And Mars.
and they have nice spas up there.
It could
And
be
I
a
weigh
penal
less.
colony.
Savannah, you just want to meet my cowboys in Mars, don't you?
Yeah. In my books, Mars is a penal colony. Yeah, so no, I don't want to go to Mars. But Europa. I'd like to go to Europa.
That would be
A little
cool.
cold.
And
Yeah.
the other place that starts with a G, is it a G?
Ganymede?
Yes, Ganymede.
Wow.
Mm.
Go you. So is everybody else in the future? Okay. I'm the lone one out, I guess.
Yeah.
I would not want to. No, I don't want to see the future. That's okay. But that does tie us into Maureen's book. So please tell us about the Viking who fell through time.
Well, it's about a bunch of Vikings who encounter a crashing spaceship that opens a space-time portal and pulls them through into the past. And they have to survive there because they left when they were pulled in. It was springtime, but when they get to their destination, it's autumn and winter is coming, and they don't have time to plant. They don't have time to hunt. They don't have time to do much of anything. So they've got to make alliances and build things and survive.
Fabulous.
So it's almost like a tale of survival, except that there's a romance involved.
That's so cool. All right. So, because I was really fascinated by this concept when I started reading about your book. How many Vikings go backwards?
3 shiploads of families. They've been exiled. The leader Tor challenged the current leader of their settlement because that leader killed his father and raped his sister, and he did not like to do that. And his sister knew that the leader was treacherous and would probably kill Tor, so she begged for exile instead. That she wasn't supposed to go with him, but she snuck aboard. So it's the Viking, his friends, his family, their families, and as many animals as they could stuff on board. But whatever they could fit in the 3 ships is what they have, and they all stuck together.
Wow, that's so cool. Do you want to? Why don't you want to read us a passage before we like really dive deep?
Sure. In the course of the beginning of the book, Tor meets up with the local villagers, and among these villagers is a woman named Kiana, who is not a villager. She's from somewhere farther away, and an instant dislike, which means instant chemistry. And the next day they decide that independently that they're going to investigate where this spaceship crashed into the mountain. So they go up the mountain, they sort of meet each other, and they form a tentative truce, and then they keep going. And they continued up the trail until they rounded a boulder and found themselves facing a jumble of rock and a metal wall. Tor stopped and stared. He'd never seen anything like this before. A wall of metal? Is the whole fire disk made of metal? What kind of blacksmith constructed such a thing? Kiana approached, her gaze on the wall. Suddenly, a man appeared before her, hands raised in a warding gesture. She crouched and drew her sword. Odin's beard, where did he come from? Tor's sword appeared in his hand before he was aware he'd drawn it. Without thinking, he placed himself in front of Kiana, but she slipped from behind him to stand at his side. He didn't have to look at her to sense her irritation. Tor braced for attack, but the man never moved. Where are his weapons? Still on guard, Tor studied him. The man's hair was dark, cut short like a priest's. His eyes, too, were dark, but his skin lighter. He wore light-colored trews of a linen-like material, a dark shirt that fastened up his chest in some mysterious manner, and boots made of hide, sturdy fur-lined boots like Tor's. But strangest of all was his color. He was gray from head to foot, different shades of gray, his clothes, his hair, even his skin. All this Tor noted in an instant. A moment later, the man spoke. Warning, keep back. The ship is guarded. Keep away. End of chapter.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you. Renee, I'm going to let you kick off actually with your question because it was one that I was curious about too. Do you want me to read it or?
Which one? I gave you two.
Having to do with the Bronze Age.
Yeah, I was just really curious because it's a underrepresented time period in fiction. What made you settle on the Bronze Age, which is awesome, but I'm just curious how great minds think alike.
Well, this is not the first book I wrote in the series. I wrote a book that definitely took place in the Bronze Age with a modern day woman. But then there was backstory and backstory and backstory. So the first two books lead up to the third book, which is the reason that it's in the Bronze Age. I don't really want to give spoilers, but I can.
No,
I can give you the title. I can give you the title of the third book.
Okay.
Which will be A Viking in Atlantis. So Atlantis we think was based Plato based his story on the explosion on Santorini, which was then called Thera at that time. And that whole Greek island just exploded. And that took place around 1650 BC. And that's where I wanted that story. So I now had to figure out how these people, because there's a Viking in that one, where did he come from? Why was he in the Bronze Age when he shouldn't be? Yeah. And that led to the first two stories.
Cool.
This one, which is the Viking who fell through time, and then the second one, which we've called, thank you, Renee, the Viking Shadow Lady.
Cool. Awesome.
And then there's a fourth book which answers where the spaceship came from.
Nice. Oh, awesome. I like it. And I had to look up the Bronze Age when I was doing this because I didn't know exactly when it was. So it looks like it's roughly 3,300 BC to about 1200 BC.
Yeah. And we're smack in the middle.
Did you know a lot about the Bronze Age when you decided to write this book?
I was interested in Atlantis, and so I was reading a lot about that. And
okay,
it wasn't until I started looking in deeper that I realized, 1650 is the Bronze Age. So that led to what the weapons were and what the people lived like. And really, when you think about it, until cars were invented, everybody lived pretty much the same way. They all rode horses, or they had carriages. They all lived in relatively primitive conditions. So the difference between Bronze Age villages and 10th century villages and 17th century villages is very, very slim. It's very close.
Okay. So then what kind of problems do your Vikings have having gone back in time? Do they even really notice it then?
Not really. in fact, they don't even realize that they are further back until sort of the end of the book, and only because they have a wise man there who notices the difference in the stars and the way they're positioned. Because the Big Dipper, for example, was a little more elongated back then than it is now, or the other way around, one of the two. But the stars are different, and that's really the only way you can tell. And also, this person knew about legends of the land that Kiana came from, because she's from further south, sort of the city states on the Mediterranean. So I guess modern day Iraq.
Oh,
So there was a lot of legends about people who lived there.
Wow. Okay. So I know I've definitely heard people talk about how agents and stuff, they want Viking. What is it about Vikings that are just so, they just suck you in and are so fascinating?
I think because they are explorers, they are a lot more intelligent than most people think. They're not just raiders. They have a home life. They have farms and families, and they do a lot of trade. I think what started my interest in is when I saw pictures drawn in children's books of Vikings in Constantinople. I thought, well, where did they come from? How did they get there?
The Varangian god.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and we got to Marvel Universe, and Thor was definitely a draw for Norse mythology.
Cool.
I think it's because they're unapologetic. They are who they are.
Yeah, and they don't treat women like slaves. They're almost equals. I mean, a lot of Viking women were warriors.
Very cool. My son knows a lot about Norse mythology, and I have not explored this yet. I guess I need to.
Useful son.
Of course, useful son. Yeah, no, trust
The
me.
same one who
Useful son.
knows about kudus.
Yes. Well, very, yes, because he was really into animals when he was younger. So we used to go to all the exhibits with like African animals and animals from all around. And now he's really into mythology and art, and he's far more cultured than I must say. So now I understand that you have recreated some clothing from the Viking period. Is that correct?
Yeah, I have my son is friends with some Viking reenactors. They do reenactments of battles up in Gimli at the Icelandic festival. Ooh. And they had a seamstress that they knew, that they referred me to, and she was guiding me on what to get. So I asked her to make me up an outfit. So she made a dress and an apron and a cap and a bag. And I figured it's the sort of thing when I have craft tables, when I'm going to be selling my books at places like that, and when I go up to the Gimli Festival, maybe to get a little advertising, I can walk around in costume, and it's a conversation piece, just like the earrings are a conversation piece.
Oh, tell us about the earrings.
They're actually the book covers. Let me see. I don't know if you can see them, but it's the book cover. There's a website where she will make earrings out of any book cover. So whether it's, she had the Count of Monte Cristo, and I sent her the book cover that said design, thank you, and this is what she came up with, and it's the actual cover, it's the real cover, whereas this cover, you see, is supposed to be a spaceship right here.
Oh yeah, it's in behind you, but not on that one.
It's my fault.
What did you delete her spaceship?
I left it off when I made the final. I had to go switch it on.
It's supposed to look like, if you can see that.
Oh, yep. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, right over his shoulder.
Yeah.
I love that cover. It is so very to the book.
And Maureen was like, I do not want a semi-naked man on the cover. And we tried everything else and it didn't work. And I said, please, let me just try this. And I put the semi-naked man on the cover, and she's like, I love it.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Yeah, my husband said, can't you put a shirt on him? But I would want to put a shirt on him. He's nice. I mean,
it's a romance novel. That's what readers are looking for.
Yeah, I mean, this looks like a nice Viking story. But when you have the spaceship, then that's says it's not quite a Viking story. There's something different there.
Yep.
Something's happening. Oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. Oh, how spicy is the romance? From like sweet Hallmark all the way up to ghost pepper spicy. Like how spicy were we talking here?
It's adult, definitely. It's not explicit. I think the best description, my sister says the sex scenes are not icky. So
That's,
Thumbs up.
That's always a plus.
you don't want those.
I think we both dating.
Oh my god. That's good. I accidentally I bought a book because I don't read back cover except maybe the tagline, and I bought a book thinking it was just this really cool 1920s suspense sort of thing, and it turned out to be a romance. And when you start having the discussion of like fluids, it's like, oh yeah, that's no thank you. So that's definitely icky.
That's icky,
but
yeah.
That's icky. So good. Okay, so no icky there. That's awesome. Why?
it's more emotional than fictional than physical.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, and that's far more interesting, I think, is
Mhm.
is the connection and the why they
Yeah.
are going where they're going. So cool. I was really fascinated because when I first started prepping questions, I for some reason assumed, oh, it's the guy, the half naked man on the cover who is going back. And it wasn't until I started really reading your description of your book that I realized it's more than one.
Mhm.
So I guess as a writing choice, why did you choose there to be more than one person to go back in time? Because that's unique and I like that.
Mainly because this is generational. When you get to book 3, you're 3 generations down. So you can't just have and the Vikings. So you can't have just one Viking going back and then the Vikings get sort of watered down. So you get about 100 Vikings and about 100 villagers that they meet up with who are also ancient Vikings in a way. So I needed enough to make a community and enough for them to be able to build a longhouse and defend their territory and make a new community.
Oh, cool.
And
And the
dilute
whole
the
reason
gene
that it's
pool.
going. Sorry?
And dilute the gene pool.
Yes, right. You don't want them to too diluted, but as it turns out, all three Vikings in the first 3 books are completely unrelated to each other, and only the first one is a real Viking.
Oh my, you have lots of layers to this. This is fun.
It's different. And it sounds
Yeah,
complicated.
That's so great. So then do we see some of the characters from the first book carry through the series?
Yes. One of the reasons Kiana is up north is because her city was attacked, and she was supposed to be guarding the king's son, who was about 5 years old, and they managed to escape. And she's brought him up north, and his mother, when she was sending them out, said, "Don't make him come back and reclaim his territory. Make him grow up as a common boy." So we've got this young boy up there. He grows up. He's the hero of book 2,
Which is what I'm editing now.
Cool. And Sev, are you on that second cover, or are we not quite in that process yet?
Oh, we've got that cover.
Okay. I'm sorry. That's right. I did see that. Look at that. She's beautiful. I love that.
I love that font. I don't know what it is, but it rocks.
How much back and forth, Sev, did you and Maureen have to
Not a lot.
choose?
She was like, this
Oh.
time I want a woman, and I was like, okay. That's what we did. It was quick.
I don't want faces because I like to imagine the faces.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. Very cool. Renee, you want to take us to your next question for Maureen?
Okay. Well, Maureen and I go way back. 3 years ago, she applied for the RWA RAMP program. It's Romance Writers of America Romance Author Mentorship Program. and I was the mentor and she was the mentee applicant. And the Viking Who Fell Through Time was the manuscript that she submitted for consideration. And honestly, what drew me in was the sister, Runa, the one who snuck aboard the ship, and she was just so awesome. I'm like, oh my God, I love this story. And so she became my mentee, and then we went through polishing and editing, and then I approached Cassie and asked if she'd be interested in taking a look at the manuscript, and Maureen signed with Champagne, and I just stayed her editor from there. But yeah, I love the story from the very, very basic beginnings. It's just very special.
Oh, that's
Thank
exciting.
you.
Did you know, Maureen, that that was what drew Renee in, or is this the first time you're hearing that?
I know that she liked the sister. But we were definitely working on the hero because he was such a wimp at the beginning when we first started working on him.
Oh,
He was, yeah, everything that he should have been doing, other people were doing. So Renee was able to draw me back in and say, no, he should be doing that. He's the leader. Make him a leader.
Cool. Okay. How many revisions would you say you've done since maybe your first draft to where it is now?
I can count 6.
Yeah, at least that, I think. Since I've been working with you, you should have seen how many revisions there were before that.
I'm thinking 12,
Yeah.
15.
Yeah,
Easy.
easy.
That's great. When did you first start writing it?
This particular one, the whole series I started writing back in 2000, but this particular one, 2021 was ramp, so about 2019 I started writing that one.
Wow.
Just before I retired. I retired at the end of 2019, so I could concentrate a little more.
Nice. Oh, that sounds awesome. Yes. Yeah, being a full-time writer. Maureen, I understand you have some questions for Renee.
Uh-oh.
Here they
I'll
come.
start with the easy one. Renee is an author. She's written this lovely Guardian series, which is what drew me in. Is there going to be another one?
Yes, I am working on the next gen, actually. I want to do a series called Daughters of the Guardians. And the book I'm working on now, which Sevannah is about ready to beat me with a big stick because I'm uber slow, is Brecca, which
okay.
is Fenora's daughter. She's going to be the first book in that series, and I'm 3/4 of the way through. I just have to figure out how to wrap it up.
Nice.
So yeah, there's probably going to be like, I've got 4 of them planned so far.
Mm-hmm. Looking forward to it then.
Cool. Okay. And you had another question for her too, also.
Oh, yes. Do you find it difficult to balance being an editor and being a writer? Can you turn a creative mind off and turn the analytical mind on again, or do you have to take a break in between?
I tend to edit as I write my own stuff, which also makes me really slow because it has to be like perfect before I move on. So I don't think the editor ever stops. I drive my family nuts because I edit movies when I watch them.
And when they talk,
what's going to happen in advance.
Oh, I know
how
that.
I could have done it different.
Yeah.
I'm terrible.
I was a technical writer for about 30 years, and every time I pick up a manual, I criticize it. I critique it. I could have done this better.
Yup.
Yeah, I think that's what inspired me to start writing too, is when you hit that point and you are Renee and Maureen, like watching TV or reading another book, and you start thinking, no, they should have said this, they should have done that. I think that's how you know you need to pick up your pen. So very cool. Okay.
I find I see plot holes with, or where the plot's going before we're like 10 minutes in and you're like, this is going to happen, and it happens. So I think it's And I also find I critique people as they speak.
Ouch.
What bothers me is when shows and movies take the easy way out, like you can guess right away, and it's just like I could have made it so much more interesting.
Right. That's actually a really good guidepost, I think, as a writer. I definitely have used that myself, where you say, okay, this is where the easy answer is. What can I do that's not that? I've definitely gone that way with scenes because
You don't want to be predictable.
no. Have you, Renee and Sev, do you find that I know it's probably hard for you to read for pleasure, but do you still have experiences where you read something and get surprised?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Terry Lynn Kenyon is brilliant at that.
Yeah.
You think it's going one way and she'll throw something in there and you're like, oh, cool. This sucks. Oh my God, this is so cool, because she will have you on the edge of the seat where you're actually sweating for the characters. She's brilliant.
Ooh, that is good. That is good. Maureen, going back to Vikings for a minute, hopefully more than a minute. Is there any portrayal of Vikings in pop culture, maybe in movies or books, that you look at and you're like, oh no.
Yeah, horns on helmets. There are no horns on the helmets.
No Hagar, huh?
No, afraid not.
And that's so funny because that's like the typical, that's how people, today know that you're talking Viking. That's
Yeah.
so, I wonder where that comes from.
I don't know.
Yeah. That would be interesting to find out. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think I believe, I may be wrong about this, but I believe that there were horns on helmets during certain ceremonies, but they were ceremonial and have
Okay.
absolutely nothing to do with everyday wear.
Okay.
I always think How to Tame Your Dragon and the horns they had, the helmets they had in there.
I'm sorry, I was thinking the breastplates.
Yes, that definitely.
Yeah, because I think he
But
gave
here
his
comes
son.
the helmet.
he
His
gave
wife's
son-
breastplate.
Yeah,
Yes.
sorry.
Oh, that's great. I haven't seen beyond the first. Have I seen the second film? I don't know. My kids were very into that when they came out.
This was in the first one, so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's been a while. Sweet series. So let me ask the question this way then. Do you have a favorite Viking themed, Viking related movie or a book that you really found inspirational, or just one you just like?
Well, I like How to Tame Your Dragon because I like dragons. In fact, the next series is going to be with the dragons. But I just liked the story. It was emotional and it was fun. Even if it was a cartoon, it was a good movie. I tried looking at the series Vikings, but it was a bit too bloodthirsty for my liking. It was like Game of Thrones. I couldn't stand Game of Thrones. I prefer Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Do you like epic fantasy then? Like the big, huge, deep world kind of fantasy?
Sometimes there's a lot of things that take place in the same world, like the Marvel universe, for example.
Yeah.
And Lord of the Rings is just so unique because when it was written, so back in the 30s and 40s, it was new, and everything else seems to be a copy of it.
Yeah.
But I like anything that has a fantasy or a science fiction twist on it, pretty much. Mercedes Lackey is one of my favorites right now, and Jane Ann Krantz and Jane Castle and Amanda Quick, who are all the same person. Jane Castle is the futuristic one, so I read her a lot more than the other two.
Oh, interesting. I did not know that because I just discovered her as Amanda Quick.
You wanted to see my key rings?
Yes.
Yes. All right, so let's do that. So you have key rings to show us. Oh, cool.
Ooh,
Wow.
I like the black and white one.
Yeah, any color, any color, any contrast. But it's that symbol is called word.
Yeah.
Can you read it backwards? Right, that's what I'm seeing. but it's the intersection of past, present, and future with all the diagonal lines, the vertical lines.
Ooh, perfect.
That's like perfect for your series.
Yeah.
That's what I thought when I saw it. And it's easy to stitch. It's just straight lines.
That is the key right there.
I want
Pun
to order one
intended.
of the black and white ones.
Do you think
Offline, we'll contact you offline and give me your address.
There you go. And actually going back, since you brought back stitching, there you had mentioned in a newsletter that towards clothes, there's significance to the color.
Yes, his shirt is a faded red, but red is a very expensive color for the Vikings to get, because they don't, the plant that it comes from doesn't grow in Scandinavia. They have to go to Europe to get it. So it's very expensive. So only really limited to the upper classes. So that shows that he's part of the nobility.
Does that make any waves with the other people in the story?
Not really. They
Okay.
used to him. I mean, his father used to be the chieftain, and he would have been chieftain under normal circumstances, except for this other guy who usurped everything.
Yeah. How about when they go back in time? I know you said the Viking. Go ahead.
He's just the leader of the ship. He's the ship's captain, and
Oh, okay.
his two younger brothers are the captains of the other ships. He's the eldest of the four of them. His sister is his twin sister, and then he's got two younger brothers.
Okay, cool. So what kind of research did you have to do while writing this book?
Quite a lot, because of little niggling things. I wanted them to be able to make mead when they were in what ended up to be Denmark. So I had to say, well, are there bees in Denmark? Can they find a beehive that will do that? So I had to check the flora and the fauna. What sort of fish did the fishermen catch, and what sort of wood, what sort of trees grew there? And I found the best source of a lot of this stuff was in children's books, in the children's section of the library.
Oh,
And
cool.
anything that I did choose to use, then I would delve into the adult section to find the specifics. But I once got a book out at the library on swords. It was an adult book, and it was thick, very thick book, researched on the different kinds of swords, and it was so boring I fell asleep after the first chapter. So then I went back and I found a children's book that listed all the different swords, and then I could just concentrate. Okay, I want to know about this one, and this specific, what sort of runes do they write on it, and why do they write things on it? And
that's such a brilliant way to do the research, because I've done that as well with the Revolutionary War. Sometimes you just want the quick and easy answer, and it is sometimes easier to find in the children's books. And then if you need to deep dive, or obviously, you check to make sure it's accurate. But yeah, sometimes that is just easier. Because I've tried to read, my book's called the Enlightened series. I've tried to read about the Enlightenment, and same thing. I found a book 700 pages long. It was somebody's dissertation, I'm sure. And that first chapter, I was done. Couldn't do it. Oh my gosh. So snoozeworthy. Maureen, have you had mead before?
I tried it once. We do have a wine festival in our town, in our city, and one of the craft breweries was offering tastes of mead, and it's very sweet, yeah. So I don't drink alcohol the best of times. I drink maybe a small glass of sherry once a week, and that's about it. I don't like the taste of beer.
Is it
Alcohol,
cold? Is it hot?
You can do either.
Room temperature is what I tried.
It's best at room temperature, I think. We have, right when the world shut down, this mead works opened up about a half hour down the road from us. And my husband, that was his anniversary gift to me, was to go to the mead works, and we got a couple different meads. And one of them was a chocolate coffee. It was called Loki's Brew. Nice. And I had never tried mead before. And that stuff is like 20 proof. So I'm sitting here drinking this really honey sweet thing on the couch, and I went to get up, and that's when I realized how drunk I was. And I was on the floor, because I don't drink, but I was on the floor giggling in hysterics. That stuff does knock you off your derriere.
And so no one recorded it for YouTube?
I know.
What kind of
I
family do
know.
you have?
Just ask the sons because they've never seen. I don't get drunk like Maureen. I don't like beer. I don't drink. I'll have a random glass of something here and there, and not even a glass. Like my friends make fun of me, and yes, they still talk about it because it was they'd never seen me drunk. Yeah, totally knock you off your derriere.
What you got, Kiersten?
There it is. Maybe I'll.
Ooh,
Yeah, but can you see like that honey color and
it's really dark.
it's a beautiful, yeah, this one is a dark one.
I
There's like a
like it.
blackberry one as well. And
That's the chocolate one.
yes, this is a chocolate coffee. And you can taste it. It's got that nice undertone to go with the sweet honey taste. It's good. It's very easy to lose track of how much you're drinking.
It's funny, if you sit and drink, you're fine. But the minute you stand up is when it all hits you.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we have lost Maureen, so we will have to wrap here. But please know that you can always post your questions down below, and we will get you answers from Maureen. Or if you have, questions for our editors, for me, please put them in the comments below. Please like this crazy video for all our problems, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Renee. It's always a joy to have you. And I'm so glad you came back. And we will see you all soon. Bye.
Bye.